Alkali's not here yet. Speaking of which, where the fuck's Alkali?
Do I? Oh, thank God. How are you all doing? We told him the show started at 8, and he said, well, I'm going to run to the Dunkin' Donuts first. So either he'll walk in the next 5 minutes, or he's dead on the streets of Milwaukee. Are you all enjoying First Square? Wonderful. Are you enjoying the security checkpoint? You're liking it? It's like walking onto the airplane here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Take off your shoes, your belts, open your bags, bend over. It's a fucking lie. If they were telling you to bend over, this room would be more than 3/4 full. Nobody would be arguing about coming over to the Beard Center. Hey, V, how are you doing back there? Wonderful. I think I saw Sasquatch walk in through the door, so.
Yes! You did this to me! Did you tell them?
The vodka?
Security was waiting for me!
Wait a second, hold on. Before you go further, I want to know, where is my vodka?
Confiscated! But don't worry, it was confiscated twice. Upstairs, the wonderful security looked at me, and when I said, no, this isn't for my personal consumption, they said, yeah, right. And then they took your vodka and orange juice, to which the door guy standing nearby said, and I quote, oh, him. He's a problem. Give that to me. We need it as evidence. So now the door side have your tequila and, vodka and orange juice, but don't worry, I got a message from them. I'll read it to you. This is your individual idiot tax, and here's a picture of them drinking it. So, how's your night going, mine?
It was much better before you walked in.
I get that a lot. Regular life, the DMV, grinder hookups, they all say that.
Oh,
Who
what?
just wooed
Who just wooed that?
See you online.
Yeah. Who just wooed that? You know who wooed that.
One of my friends.
Twink 284.
Excuse me, they stopped using numbers.
Oh.
Yeah, you can use equal, 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 capital case, D tilde, it's perfect now.
Oh, I already asked him how First Squared was, so I beat you to the opener.
Well, now I've got nothing. See you guys later. Hold on, I've got something. Who gave us this?
Don't know. It came through the curtain and they said give it to Alkali.
Whoever did this, thank you. This is one of my absolute favorites.
Are you sure it's not poison?
Are you sure I care?
Wait a second. Whoa. That got through security, but my vodka is gone.
Look, I'm basically walking probable cause. I smell like weed, I look like weed, and they're going to search me because they need to up their stashes. You need to understand this. I actually travel with fake weed. It's not that it's fake, it's that it's a smaller amount. So when somebody pulls me over and tries to take my weed, I can just give them that. And then I still have my weed.
I love the fact you have decoy weed.
There's reasons, Boozy!
When you go weed hunting, do you sit in the weed blind and just launch the decoy?
Look, I smoke enough weed, I am blind, okay?
It's his glaucoma.
It might be. So, if you don't know, I drive basically always. Years and years ago at my job, it was not a great day. Staring at my computer screen, reading all the numbers for your stock market, tanking economies, my normal day-to-day job. The screens went blurry, and for the first time, I realized I need glasses. I went from no glasses needed whatsoever to couldn't read my computer screen in about 2 minutes. And about 2 weeks ago, I was driving along, getting back to my house, and my eyes did the exact same thing. And I realized 2 things about myself. 1, I am not as good of a driver as I thought. 2, Mario Kart saved my life. Because I absolutely drifted that car into my driveway and went good enough, went out later, I was at like a 45-degree angle. I'm definitely half on my lawn. My neighbors are concerned. So maybe I need new glasses. By the way, I should put these back on.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I can't see shit anymore.
Oh.
You talk, I'm unwrapping.
No, fuck you. You lost my vodka. Fuck you. Why am I going to make it easier for you to drink?
Boozy, what makes you think I didn't have backup vodka?
Okay, so anyways.
There we go.
It's great to see you all. Who here has seen our shit before? Why do you keep coming back?
Drugs.
We have like 5 fucking jokes. We've been telling them together for a decade. You can stop now.
It's funny he says that because we have both been geeking out for 2 days now because we both have new jokes. I have a new joke. I have a new joke. Can you tell me? No, I want it to be a surprise. Which means no, we don't have new jokes.
Yeah, as we're walking over here, he said, oh, we have monkey knife fights. I said, no, it's iComedy Better here. He goes, shit, it should be monkey knife fights. It's just the 2 of us. iComedy Better is when we bring someone else up for our bullshit too. And I go, yeah, but really they're the same panel. What they are, and honestly, we used to say the only difference between them is who got to the submission form first.
That was how it worked for a while.
What it is we sit up here and tell each other jokes, and we try to make each other laugh, and you all are completely superfluous to the evening.
There is no difference to what we are doing now and to what we do in their living room while watching softcore porn and pretending to be the boat.
There's a couple differences. No, your hands are above the table here.
That was the Titanic, by the way, very sexy.
It is great to be back here. If you may have noticed, I've had a little more spring in my step this year than I have for the past 7 or 8 years. That's because I finally got a new hip.
Hooray! I love that you got a new hip, but I would rather talk about the old one.
Let me set the scene for you. First, when I went in to see my surgeon, and he said, if you can lose 80 pounds, you get a new hip. Well, I lost the fucking 80 pounds, and I went back and said, I'd like a new hip, and he did the x-ray, and he looked at it, he said, what dumb son of a bitch didn't replace this after you broke your hip 8 years ago? I said, well, funny story, you were the surgeon when they admitted me to the hospital 8 years ago. And he got quiet and said, the good news is, I'm 8 years smarter. I love it. He goes, I can do this procedure at one of 3 hospitals, and he lists them off, and he goes, or there's this other hospital. And I go, what's the difference? He goes, I own the 4th one. So you get more money. Yes. Sold. I want you personally invested in me living. He actually looked at me, this was August. I went in and he did the x-ray, he looked at it, and he said, so we can get you into the surgical theater next week. He was ready the next week to do it. I said, I'm busy, I've got shit I have to do, and my job is not the type where I can just be gone for a month on 7 days' notice. He said, when would you like to have it done? And I said, well, the week after Thanksgiving. And he said, well, I normally go to Florida for Christmas. And I said, yes, the week after Thanksgiving. He wasn't too happy, and you may think that that was mean of me. I would like to refer you back to he's the dumb son of a bitch who didn't replace my hip 8 years ago. I was actually in Alkali. I don't know if any of you have met my spouse, but they're about 5 feet tall and 90 pounds. So if my ass went down after the surgery, I was not getting back up with their help. My good friend Alkali here said that he was going to come out. He was going to spend a couple weeks at our house, first before the surgery and after the surgery, to make sure I was back on my feet and everything could be handled. If you went to MFF this year and you were expecting to see Alkali and you didn't, that's why. I would also like to inform you all that 2 days after the surgery, I did not need his help. I really just did that to fuck you all over.
No,
If you all want to contact FurFest and tell them to invite me the fuck back out, I'll stop stealing their main stage performers.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know how much I really helped in that time frame, because let's not forget, I was just consolence at that point, because this is major surgery. I don't care how strong and how much of a mask you put on, you're afraid, and that's what I wanted to help with.
He got there. The day or two after Thanksgiving, he shows up.
Yeah, you still had leftovers. They were amazing.
I was sitting in my recliner, and I was nervous. I wanted to get some questions answered about the surgery, so I went to a wonderful and knowledgeable and reliable source of information, the hip replacement subreddit. At which point I began reading story after story of people talking about how their anesthesia wore off during surgery, and they woke up, and while they could not feel anything, they could hear the saw. Oh! And then I read a story from a nurse in an orthopedic surgery ward who said, "Oh yeah, no, it's not a delicate surgery. You can hear the hammers all the way down the hall." And this is when I learned exactly how a hip replacement works, because while my surgeon had gone over, this is what we're going to replace it with, and this is the mobility range, and this is the time frame, he had not actually gone into what the procedure entails. What the procedure entails is, and I would show you my scar, but I'm pretty sure no one wants to see my ass. And
you're wrong.
You can't see one without the other at this point. But
I can't look at you without seeing it at this point, man.
But they roll you on your side, they cut you open, they basically either cut through or completely pull back the muscle and nerves. Then they take a saw, they slam your hip out of joint, take a saw, cut off the top of your femur, right? Then they take a drill, and they drill out your femur. Then they take a shaft of metal with a ball on the end, put it there, take a surgical hammer, did not know that was a thing, and pound it into your bones.
I had a hookup like that.
Then they screw a metal ball into your hip, and they reattach your leg. I was a little nervous. Alkali showed up, and I read it. He goes, "What's the matter?" I said, "I've been reading about people who are waking up in this surgery because they don't give them enough of the anesthesia to keep you under the sedation." And he goes, "Oh,
no, hold on. I did this because I'm a furry and I experienced something. Therefore, I'm an expert on the topic."
Alkali, how did you comfort me as I sat there worried about this?
We are very different people, and apparently have very different fears.
Just fucking tell them what you said.
Boozy, don't worry about it. We are both very large people, and anesthesiology is not the best science. At our size, the chances of you waking up during surgery are actually very minute.
If he had stopped right there, it would have been a loving and caring message from a friend who wanted to comfort me.
And instead, the legitimately loving and caring message from a friend who wanted to comfort them, but has different fears, was, "No, we're so big, it's kind of like a guessing game. You're not going to wake up. You have a better chance of just dying." There's no pain if you're dead. I would have been comforted.
Not better! The day before the surgery, we went out to Bob Evans, our favorite place in the world.
Hell yeah.
All hail, Bob. I know you don't understand. We go there wearing Bob Evans paraphernalia. We have hats. We get Bob's table.
Yeah, like there's a table at the front called Bob's table. It's just the biggest table. It's got a giant picture of Bob Evans smiling down on you, like the Pope room at Buca de Beppo, but for rednecks. And we specifically asked for it. Like, we had one waitress where we were at a con, and we had gone there every morning, and we had requested Bob's table, and the last morning we showed up, and we said, hey, we'd like to sit at Bob's table, and she goes, there's people there, I'm so sorry. She was genuinely sad we couldn't get Bob's table.
We earned it. We don't need the menu anymore. It's not okay.
Yeah, I would like the whole hog breakfast with an extra side of ham, and could you sub out that French toast for a second pancake?
I would like coffee, Eggs Benedict coffee.
I tell you this so that you'll understand on Sunday, if you come to the recording of the Legal Funhouse on Sunday, our podcast, and you listen to some of the old episodes, you will realize that we have been really pushing this to try to get Bob Evans to sponsor us.
We are so close. We found out he has an event. There is a Bob Evans camping event, and we are going. We will be streaming as much of it as we can, and we will be causing a nuisance.
It's not just an event. There's a festival. Yes. They have performance stages. We are bucking to get on the Bob Evans main stage.
Dude, I want
this furry shit. You all are just a stepping stone to our Bob Evans legend.
I just want to do bobbing for biscuits, which is just in the whole vat of gravy. You just stick your head in there, you pull up, and you look like Sunday of a fur con, just dripping, like sweat, because you're exhausted, sweat. I'm a salty motherfucker.
We had gone to Bob Evans the day before my surgery. We went out to BJ's Wholesale Club. Not what you're thinking of. I know I said that, and like 3 of you are like, that party's not till tomorrow.
Incorrect.
It's like Sam's, but with a much more juvenile name, okay? It's the Costco of dirty-minded people. So we went there to get food and everything, and Q and Alkali did the shopping. And as we got home, we settled in. They were going to keep me overnight at the hospital the next day. And Alkali said, what do you want when you get out of the hospital? Now, at this point, I had been on a diet for 7 months.
A diet is counting calories or refraining. You weren't on a diet. You were basically just a starving person who had to look at food constantly.
So I said, you know what I want? I want Arby's. I haven't had Arby's in 7 months. It's horrible food, it tastes terrible, and I miss it. He goes, we are going to get you Arby's when we pick you up from the hospital. Wonderful. I would like a half-pound roast beef, a 5-piece chicken tender, 2 orders of curly fries, and an apple turnover. He goes, do you think you'll eat all that? I said, I just want it. I gotta try, motherfucker. Look, it's not as big of an issue as it normally is because opiates bind you up. So hopefully I'll be able to get upstairs to the toilet by the time they wear off.
Hey, Boozy, 3 in the morning.
I'm pooping! We'll get there. They wheeled me into the surgical hospital they had me at was a very nice, small surgical hospital. It was a 15-bed surgical hospital. Like I said, it was owned by my surgeon and several other surgeons. So, a very nice hospital. And, you know, I work for the government. I have good insurance now. That's a fucking change. But let me change that. I work for the state government. I still have a job and good insurance now. I'm not gonna get political.
Too late.
Anyways, they wheel me into my room. Now I get in there. Here's how I remember this, by the way. This is my memory of the surgery. My spouse has been in the back with me, and they leave and they say, we're going to do the anesthesia. And I say, okay. And they go, we're going to give you a spinal block. And what they do is essentially numb you from about right here all the way down. You can't feel a damn thing. You can't move anything. You can't feel anything. And they got my IV in, and they had me sit up, and they go, it's going to feel cold, and then we're going to give it to you. I said, okay. And they go, but first, the happy juice. To this day, do not know what the happy juice was. Do know they put it into the IV, and about 30 seconds later said, are you ready? And I said, And then it felt like an ice cube on my back, and they said, okay, done, lay back down. I laid back down. They wheeled me into the operating room. They put another thing, which I later found out was propofol. If you've never had it, I highly suggest it. They put it into the IV, and I hear the nurse say, okay, let's lift him onto the operating table. They lift me onto the operating table. The surgical nurse says, let's roll him on his side, and they get over there, they get up, 1, 2, and then I wake up in the recovery room. But I didn't wake up in the recovery room. I actually woke up in the surgical room. Nightmare 1 confirmed. Luckily it was over. The way I woke up was I heard the surgical nurse say, okay, he needs to get into the recovery room, and I very clearly remember saying, okay, and trying to get off the table.
When I saw the surgeon after their surgery, he had a look the same way that I assume I would look like if I came home from like Vietnam. He was just...
Thankfully, I was numb from the tits down. Like nips to numb, that's where it was, right there. They get me into the recovery room. I'm sitting there for a moment. My surgeon walks in, looks at me and says, that was a rough one. Not a comforting fucking thing to hear. Then he pulls out his phone and goes, do you want to see a picture?
Oh, God, no.
First, little worrisome. Why, in the course of my surgery, did you say, I gotta get a Polaroid of this motherfucker? Second, yes, of course I want to see the picture. So he brings it up, and there is the severed femoral head sitting on a tray, luckily doped out of my mind still. Any other situation, that would have bothered me. In this situation, I'm like, what are those little hook things? He's like, yeah, those are bone spurs. They shouldn't be large enough to catch a bass. They wheel me out. I go into my room. My friends are there. They make sure that I can walk. They make sure I can pee. They give me food. My spouse and Alkali leave, and I go, I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, I was doped up. I laid down. I went to sleep. Until, it was about, what, 6 p.m. then? About 6 p.m. And as he's leaving, he goes, tomorrow when we get you, we're getting you your Arby's. I went to sleep at 6 p.m. I woke up at 9 p.m. when the new nurse came in and accidentally woke me up while taking my vitals and asked me if I would like anything. And I said, no, I'm okay. I'm going to go back to sleep. And then I had the worst pain of my entire life. Because what I didn't realize is apparently right after the surgery, before they close you up, they give you an injection, like right in the bone. And that injection contains some pretty heavy painkillers. And that injection wears off after about 8 hours.
Oh.
I thought I was okay until I woke up 9 hours after I left the operating room. Worst pain of my life. For the rest of that night, those poor nurses, I kept pressing the call button and they would help me, because I'm not supposed to get out of bed without help, right? They would help me out of the bed over to the recliner, and I'd sit in the recliner for 20 minutes, and then I'd press the call button, and I'd be uncomfortable. I'd have to get back in the bed, back to the recliner, back to the bed, back to the recliner, back to the bed, back to the... They're like fucking shoving oxy down my throat just so I'll shut the fuck... At one point, I heard one of them go, I don't care if he overdoses. But they couldn't give me anything stronger than what they were giving me at that point. They couldn't, without my surgeon's permission. And I wasn't the only surgery. I was like, there were only 2 guys in the hospital, me and one other poor bastard who had like his knee replaced. I don't know what his name was. I heard him sobbing down the hallway in the middle of the night. Oh, no, fuck him. Okay, look, there is a point. You know that saying, misery loves company? Yeah, no, fuck him. He can be in as much pain as I am. No sympathy at that point in time. Okay? None. You know how I finally got them to call my doctor to see if they could give me something stronger? I got on, they had a streaming TV, and I logged in to my Discovery Plus account, and I turned on, I like the ghost shows. I like those ghost shows, right? Like I have Travel Channel, I have Hulu Live just for the Travel Channel because it's nothing but ghost shows. I call it the Travel to the Other Side channel now. And on Discovery Plus, there's a show called Haunted Hospitals. So I turned it on and called for the nurses so that they could see I was laying in a hospital bed in pain watching stories about people who have died in a hospital and come back to haunt their asses. And that's how I got my morphine shot at 4.
It's also how you lost TV privileges.
The next morning, they come to get me, and because they tell me, oh, you're gonna be discharged. You know, and the physical therapy's gonna come in. They're gonna walk you through some stuff. You're gonna be discharged. You can go home today. So they call them, let them know. They come up there waiting for my therapy to get there, and they walk in. And when they walk in, Alkali, where was I sitting?
Oh, no. You need a picture for this one.
Yes.
All right. I walk in, myself and QF, worried. Our children are at home. They want to know how Dad's doing. We're worried. When we walk into the room to see one of my best friends staring.
Now, let me, I want to tell you how the room was set up. Door, bathroom, bed, recliner, beside recliner, giant picture window.
Huge. Also, I just want to point this out. Don't think I didn't notice this. The recliner has been turned to face the picture window. Upon asking the nurses, not only they confirmed they did not do that, but they did it while shaking their head. We know you were moving furniture after major surgery. You're an asshole.
It will make sense here in a moment. Because I noticed this right after they left the night before and before my pain pills wear off.
We noticed in that moment our friend staring, the million-yard stare. Perhaps the moisture in his eye was from the pain. Perhaps it was from the thoughts going through his head as he does not acknowledge his wife and his friend walking into the room. Boozy, are you okay? And he just lifts up his hand towards the window. Boozy?
This is true, by the way. This is not a bit. We are not punching this.
Oh, no, not at all. What were you reaching towards directly outside your hospital room bedroom picture window?
The hospital was on a hill. And through the window, it faced a shopping center. And dead center of that shopping center parking lot, dead center of the window, was an Arby's.
Part of this is he didn't want to go to that Arby's because he had a favorite Arby's. So we weren't allowed to go to that Arby's, so we went to the other Arby's, which was out of fries. So what did I do, Boozy? We got his burgers there and fries from another place. Boozy!
You know the funny part? He got the fries when he went back out to pick up my pain meds, but at the pharmacy, you know where the pharmacy was? By the first Arby's.
They will say yes. And then they will put the tree in your yard. Their neighbors had a pile of dead tree in their yard, so we said, let's have a bonfire. In Arizona. The wildfire state. Well, I learned something about very dead wood. I had a birch tree growing up. Me and my dad cut it down and we had one of the best fires. Birch wood burns quick, it's a nice little flame, and it's gone in an hour. This tree was opening the gates to hell. A single match had flames going above their roof. Their friends are not the smartest, but also apparently they like flame juggling. There were incidents. But that's not the story I want to tell you, because a moment ago, I told you about a windstorm. Pepper, what does a windstorm kick up in Arizona?
Laughter.
Oh, I wasn't laughing. Because just so you know, Pepper and Boozy haven't heard this yet. They don't know this happened. My car, sitting outside their house for a month, sat through a sandstorm.
Oh,
The practical term is haboob.
The practical term is fuck you. I'm not very observant at times. I had been there for a while. It was time to go home. I really didn't want to leave, but it was time. I drove my first day, no incident. I get out of Arizona and I get into the OKC, Oklahoma. I'm driving down the highway. It's been about 24 hours. I've been around some of my best friends. I've been having a wonderful time, and I'm about to go back to reality. I was feeling it, and sometimes I'm weak. I lit a joint. Not the smartest thing, don't do it. Seriously, don't do it. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I'm a dumbass. And by the time the story is done, you will understand why that is the exact term I call myself. Because as I finished this joint, I took the butt and I tossed it out the window in about...
Oh, no.
Bad idea.
Oh, very bad idea. You shouldn't do that. Because about 5 minutes later, there was a rave going on behind my car.
What?
Oh, yeah. The police are here. I've done stupid, horrible things in my life. In this moment, it was over. I'm about to get pulled over. I have weed in the center console. The car smells like weed. I'm done. You know what a normal person does when confronted with the reality that it's over? They panic. You know what an ex-stockbroker who thinks that it's okay to tell their friend, don't worry, you won't wake up during surgery, you'll just fucking die. You know what we do? We laugh. It's my defense mechanism. If any of you talk to me, I make jokes constantly. It's because of my insecurities. It's easier for me to talk to you as a comedian. It's easier for me to make jokes. And when I am fully panicked, I am a full goddamn comedian. So when this cop did what he should not do, because I've been pulled over about 1,000,000 times. They come to the driver's side window. I pull all the way over. I know I lit a cigarette. I'm like, oh, this'll mask the smell. Perfect, I'm genius. I have a cigarette in my mouth waiting for him to come to the window, and he comes to my passenger side window. A new thing I didn't know. So I reach down to open the window. I hit a button and nothing happens. Did I hit the wrong button? Okay, so I locked the doors on accident. That's not it. I opened the back passenger's window. That's not it. The radio turns on. My bad. I didn't know that window was broken. I had no clue. So as I reach over, laughing at the fact that this cop has just watched me play piano on my controls next to me while the car is just kind of waving, bobbing, the lights are flashing, I finally just reach over, open the door. How can I help you, Your Honor? A smile. I'm not kidding when I say I've been pulled over a lot. As a young person, I sped like crazy. Don't do that either. I got pulled over a lot. I'm very used to dealing with Chicago cops. This is a highway patrolman from Oklahoma who has just got to the side of my door and I called him Your Honor. So, where are you going? Chicago? What were you doing out here? Visiting a friend? Who would that be? We are furries. We are furries. I know their real name. I know Pepper's real name. I do not call them by their real names. So I said Pepper Coyote. And the police officer went, Coyote? I looked it up. So that's a person runner. That is a human trafficker, and he thinks I just said my friend Pepper, human trafficker, is the person I am visiting. I'm not doing good. We have a back and forth conversation.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm looking up the conversation he had with me during this encounter. I am in New Mexico right now, and I can't describe how beautiful the endless deserts look. woke up this morning to watch the sun rise over the desert. It was beautiful and life-changing. Hey man, I'm going to jail.
I sent that message before. They take so long to come to the car, I figured I had time to check my Grindr and send out a few messages. If the cop is on Grindr, you're getting out of the ticket. That's the one thing you can take away from this set. He asked me, sir, could you step out of the car? And I go, yeah. You want to put out that cigarette? I don't know what possessed me. I don't know where my mind was. All I know is I knew I was done. I knew the look on his face. I have fooled no one. So without thinking, my improv brain went, no, then you'll be able to smell the weed. And he smiled. He pulls me out of the car. He let me leave the car. And as I walk behind the car to him, he goes, do you have any weapons on you?
Do not make this worse.
That's what I was thinking. But I didn't listen to my own advice. I said, my wit. And he said, no, you don't. He said something I wasn't ready for. Would you mind taking a seat in the passenger side of the car?
Plead the fifth.
I'll get there. Passenger side? He goes, yeah, sit down. So he sits me down in the car, he takes my driver's license, he starts clickety-clacking. And he starts just talking to me. So what do you do? Like, oh, I'm a comedian. Like, oh, have you performed recently? Yeah. Where? I said, well, I'm going to be performing at First Square, and I started listing off furry conventions. He goes, oh, and you were out visiting your friend? Yeah, he's a musician. Oh. And I quote, so, what's his most famous song? I immediately said, driving into the sun.
Sure you did. Well played.
And we kept going. As we talk, as I talk with anyone, I become more comfortable. I like getting to know people. And in this situation, it was no different to me. I'm still with a person in a car. So why not just talk? And I don't know what's wrong with my brain. I don't know if it's all the time we spend on stage needing to think about the next thing you're going to say. I don't know if it's the fact that I have repeated some of my jokes over and over ad nauseum for years, but there are a few that I'm very comfortable in telling, and a few that I know are funny. And I don't know how I started. I don't know how I fucking got there. I don't know what spurred this. So I told him the story of the time I got pulled over and a cop stole my joint. And he sat there. And he listened. And as I finished up, he goes, son, there's two things I know right now. One, you are high as shit. And two, you're definitely a comedian. One, that was just true. Two hit me, man. A cop just told me they liked my stuff. As I told him about his, I don't know, friends, I'm assuming they're all friends, stealing my weed after I was caught driving dangerously at 2 in the morning in the middle of nowhere. Son, I'm gonna need you to do a few things for me. Do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, was it the joint I threw out my window a little bit ago? And he says, nope, didn't know about that. Nothing from me. I learned nothing from you. Now should have been when I plead the fifth, but you have to understand, my job before all this was reading people. My job now is connecting with people. This isn't what he wanted to do. I was missing something.
I was just talking to a person. And that's what it turned into. As he understood more about furry, he started telling me about his dog, a drug-sniffing dog that has to be kept in a cage because it can't interact with his dog. How much he hates doing that to the poor thing, and he can't wait to get a bigger place so it has a yard to run around in. We swapped stories. We sat in his car, and I later found out he was doing that not only just to sit there for a bit, but to sober me up. And then he told me why he pulled me over. Son, I want you to take a look at your car. And I looked at the car for the first time. Here's what I see. The back is filled with a giant body mattress that I used to sleep on. All of my luggage. Extra luggage from Pepper that I was taking home to give to my roommates. Cooking supplies that I had brought out to Arizona so I could make them a meal. Extra bags for the LARP that I wanted to go to out there. My car is filled to the brim to the point where I can't see out with any of the mirrors. And that's my thought. I go, oh, is my car too full? He goes, kinda. That's what drug runners do.
Oh.
What? You do know you are on the drug trafficking route to the east. Apparently, this highway is where all the drugs are run to get over to New York, Baltimore, and I am driving my busted-ass CRV filled to the brim with luggage, covered in dust, and I quote, going too close to the speed limit. But all of that was superficial, because that's when I saw it too for the first time. What happened in Arizona? I encountered a weather event. A storm. A storm that kicked up sand. What else kicks up a lot of sand? A sandblaster. The 4 from my license plate was gone.
Oh.
I had the license plate and an empty spot driving along the drug trafficking route with a car full of luggage. I am legitimately rolling probable cause. He goes, son, I know that I have a feeling you know this. I smelled weed in your car. I have the right to search it. You do. I know that from this one. Yeah. If I search your car, what am I going to find? You're going to find 2 weed vapes, and you're going to find 2 closed joints. Nothing is opened, because I just smoked my last joint. He goes, is that really all I'm going to find? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I believe you. You're about to be pulled over by every state trooper for the rest of your drive. Go buy a red Sharpie. Absolutely, sir. So found out another fun fact. Gas stations don't sell red Sharpies. My next stop was 2 hours from there. I was pulled over 3 more times. The first time I was pulled over, I held up his warning. They just walked away while laughing. The second time I pulled over, I just yelled, I know. They nodded and left. The third time I was pulled over, I yelled, I'm a comedian, not a drug runner. He goes, what? I said, look at the report. He took a minute and then let me go. But it was the last moment that will forever stand out. Because he knew that I was lying. He knew I must have been lying about one thing. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. When I tell a joke, I want to make sure that the people know. So I broke when I said that sentence. I do that on purpose. And as he pulled out first, his windows down, blocking traffic so I could pull back onto the highway, I could hear his radio.
There's no cock like horse tongue.
I learned nothing from you.
By the way, how did you enjoy I-35?
I hate it so much.
You're an idiot.
I know! Oh, that was the thing! The last thing he told me, stop being a dumbass. And I've been trying to take that to heart. I can tell you this story now, because actually, almost didn't. This was almost burned on the scrap pile. I had no intention of telling it except for one thing. I learned, I don't smoke anymore when I drive. Don't fucking do that. Don't be a goddamn dumbass.
All it took was him almost going to jail as a drug smuggler.
That's all it takes for me to learn a lesson. Now excuse me while I put this into my rectum.
I love that you had to tell him about Pepper and being a comedian and furry cons and all of that to get out of going to jail.
Yeah.
You know what you should have done when he pulled you out of the car?
What's that?
When he pulled you out of the car, you should have looked at him and gone,
Yeah, they usually leave us alone after that, huh?
I mean, I wish I could say it's the dumbest drug story I've heard, but it's not. I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
All right? Like if you don't know this, I assume most of you actually know this, but every now and again somebody will walk up to me like, you're really a lawyer? I'm like, why would somebody lie about that on stage? That'd be the worst fucking comedy bit ever. Like, yeah, his whole shtick is he's a lawyer, but he's not really. No, motherfucker, trust me.
You got excited about a law report book.
Goddamn right I did.
No, actual lawyering is so much funnier than pretending to be a lawyer.
Dude, every time I hang out with him, we spend at least 1 hour watching C-SPAN court.
You. I can barely fucking see you because of the lights, but I want you to stand up and show everyone what's in your hand. The guy who just said actual lawyering is funnier than being a lawyer has a giant flask in his hand. So I have one question for you. Where did you go to law school?
I have a second question for you. Is that share size?
Number one, it is social enhancing stuff. And number two, I ran out of money.
Fair. You're never getting your vodka.
So that is not the dumbest drug story I ever heard. The dumbest drug story I ever heard. I got a phone call from somebody, and they had been a friend of mine from law school who practiced in another state had referred them to me because they got pulled over in my state. They were charged with DUI. The DUI was for driving under the influence of marijuana. Okay? And I tell them, I say, well, you're on the other side of the state. You probably want someone local. And they said, no, my lawyer told me that you were pretty good, and I want you to represent me. I said, okay, you understand you're paying me to drive 3.5 hours for every court hearing. I don't do that free. Oh yeah, it's fine. Okay. I go out for the first court hearing. In Pennsylvania, it's called a preliminary hearing. It's in front of a magistrate. The whole purpose of the hearing is to determine whether or not the state has enough evidence to pursue a case against you. I walked in to this tiny magistrate's court in a mechanic's garage.
Ooh.
Now, fun fact, magistrates don't have to be lawyers. They can literally just be some guy that everyone likes and voted into office.
Yeah.
I walk in, my client is there, the DA is there. I walk over to the DA, I say, what are we doing here? At which point, the DA just hands me their file and says, here's your discovery. Let me explain why that is concerning. There is something out there called the Brady Act, or the Brady Law. Under Brady, it's a Supreme Court case, when the state has evidence, they have to turn it over to the defense. They do not have to turn it over to the defense immediately. They have to turn it over in a reasonable time, but typically it takes a while. You can ask for the Brady file for a while before a DA gives it to you. So a DA handing it to you the first time you walk into a courtroom, it's not a good sign. And I say, what's this? They say, it's your discovery. And I go, oh, and they go, there's a video in that.
Oh, no.
And I go, oh. So can we just waive the preliminary and agree you probably have enough to make my client stand trial? Yeah, okay. I walk out with my client and say, we are waiving the preliminary. Why? Because I do not want a judge to see the video. I don't know what's on it. I don't want a judge to see it. We're just going to agree to it. I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to watch it, and then we will talk about what to do at an arraignment. My client is fine. They leave. I drive back to my office. I set up the video. I put the CD in. I press play. I watch a Pennsylvania state trooper walk up to the car, knock on the window comes down, there's a conversation, and then the trooper says, do you have any drugs in the car? And the client says, no, they're in the trunk. Two things. Under Fourth Amendment law, the cabin of the vehicle is considered a distinct location from the trunk of the vehicle. Technically, they were correct. I was very impressed with their grasp of Fourth Amendment jurisprudence. I was not impressed with their desire to exhibit it at that time. I called them and they said, do we have a case? And I said, you're going to jail. He had just been indicted. And as a result, had resigned from his position because he was going to stand felony charges. So the first assistant district attorney was now going to be the acting district attorney for that county, and then they showed her picture, and I called opposing counsel and said, I hear you got a promotion. Don't you think you're a little too busy for this case? And that's how my client got on diversion. To this day, they tell people I am the best lawyer in the world, and I'm like, no, you just rolled the criminal's natural 20.
The criminal's natural 20.
That's pretty accurate.
So, this one's not new, but about a week ago, working on all these sets, I realized I almost have an hour of, oh God, I almost got arrested stories, so let's keep going in that.
That'll actually be his next CD, Alkali, live from not Folsom Prison.
I love Folsom. So we got, I was having a day.
Hold on.
Oh, you caught that, huh?
I caught nobody else.
They don't do that supposed to! Shut
That
up!
was wonderful.
Thank you. I was having a, thank you. I was having a day. If you don't know, I help out at Anthrocon. The last few years I've been helping with the block party. Before that I did random odds and ends there. And one of the things about running a FurCon, sometimes it's a lot. And when it's Anthrocon, it's a lot. And I really didn't like how I did. I was also going through some personal things at the time, and I was just genuinely having a bad day. To the point where when I got to my hotel room, the hotel I get every year at Anthrocon, the farthest from the hotel, because as Kage says, and I quote, well, one of you is going to have to walk forever, and you could stand to lose the most weight, so I'm giving you that hotel room. No, we're friends. He's right. So I'm all the way out at my hotel. I'm in the van. I have a big, beautiful conversion van that I travel the country in. I love it. I love it. It really helps when I get stuck in the middle of New Mexico because a single snowflake falls and they shut down the state. It wasn't a single snowflake, it was an ice storm, and I was trapped on a highway for 9 hours overnight. I had a van, I basically had a bed to watch people leave their cars, tuck themselves into their jackets, and squat the side of the road. I wanted to put on mood lights, but I got in trouble. I love this van. The one downside to this van, it's a goddamn van. Certain places don't like vans. Brazil, not built for vans. You know what else? Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's parking is not made for vans. So I found the one parking spot I could have on the side of the road, right outside the hotel, a metered spot. No problem. Driver's side window facing the street. Not a lot of cars going down there. And I can't smoke in the hotel. So I went downstairs. I turned on my car and I sat. I lit up a joint, I lit up a cigarette, I sat in the car, and as I'm listening to YouTube music, as I'm cycling through the songs, something comes on. It's Alright, It's Okay by Mother Mother. It's alright, it's okay, it's alright, it's okay. You know you fucked up, she'll be just okay. I really wish I could remember the songs, but usually I'm crying during the song, because this was my relationship fight song. We listened to this after fights, because one time it happened, it came on the radio, and it made us both smile. It had meaning to me, and that was the final straw. I broke down. I am sitting in my car, full alkali, because I have to get over to the convention center. The top hat is on my head because I have a raised roof in this van. I am wearing this stupid ass sport coat. I have a cigarette in this hand, I have a joint in this hand, and I have my radio going full blast. I had a night, I had a day, put a baseball bat beside my head to fight off demons inside my head. I'm lonely, lost in pain. And as I exhale a giant breath of weed out my window, and directly into the cop car sitting next to my car, waiting for the red light, I make eye contact. They saw what I can only describe as a Batman villain sitting in a van, chain smoking, trying his fucking best. I have tears streaming down my face. I'm not wearing mascara, but it's there. I don't know what happened at that point. And I am just this. And they drove away. I would love to have heard the discussion in that car as they fucked off into the sunset.
Tom, we are not arresting the high Babadook. I don't care if you want to make Sergeant, I've seen the movie, it's not worth it.
That's one of the problems with, one of the good parts and problems with dressing. I don't care. I'll wear this. I go to Dunkin' Donuts every morning right after I get ready for the panels. I go over there with the top end of the coat. I wander around in this stuff. Why would I care? So at conventions, sometimes I'll just go out and smoke. At some conventions, I go find a quiet place and I practice my set. So this one was IFC, top of the parking garage. I found out it was closed down. Whole top of the parking garage, view of Indianapolis. While I stood in my alkali suit, wandered back and forth, and worked on my set. Until security came up to the parking garage from the other side. They are as far from me as possible. And I'm going to show you how he approached me. Yeah? What are you doing up here? Comedy. He says, that's not funny. I said, that's my fear. He talked to me for 2 minutes, said, this is closed down. You can't be up here. I said, oh, okay. And I followed him down the elevator. And as we go down, he's dead quiet. And he goes, hey, just so you know, if you want to go up there, just tell me. That's cool. I just saw you on a camera. Like, oh, okay. He goes, no, man. You are a 6'8" guy dressed in all black, wearing a top hat, smoking nonstop, muttering to yourself. I thought I was about to die.
Okay, so from now on, if that ever happens again, when they say, what are you doing? You go, I'm trying to kill the Batman!
We must censor television!
Fly, my penguins! Fly!
And then I throw my
Just
needle.
throwing penguins off the parking garage. I swear to God, I thought they could fly. The thump of the penguins narrated by Morgan Freeman.
The thump of the penguins! What is wrong with you?
So many things.
So many.
God damn it. Mr. Popper's Penguins was after the orgy.
Really loosens things up. You know what? No, that's that's the new Oswald Cobblepot origin story.
Yes.
Oh, just a failed comedian trying his best.
No. He owns an adult bookstore, Mr. Penguin's Poppers. Listen, I don't know what all those gay men are doing, but man, they like to clean those VHS tapes. One guy in the back is smiling. Like, I can't see most of you, but the one person over there, I saw you smile. And I know that you know. We both know now.
And so the fun part about I genuinely myself and Boozy met. I don't actually know how long ago we met. It was MFF what?
No, it wasn't MFF.
Oh,
It was
Anthrocon.
Anthrocon.
Yeah.
I had brought another lawyer with me to Anthrocon because he did not believe Anthrocon was real.
That's the greatest gaslighting. Like, no, you're fucking.
I was on a podcast. I was doing a thing on a pod, like an interview and performance on a podcast, and at one point somebody said, "Oh, I heard you're doing this at Anthrocon this year," and I said, "Yes." There were several lawyers listening, and one of them, a guy that I refer to as Captain Eyebrows, because he has the most beautiful eyebrows. If you ever find that episode of that podcast, you will hear right after that, when we're describing what Anthrocon is, you'll hear the ding of an iMessage. And that was Captain Eyebrows sending me a message that said, I want to go to the furry festival. So I said okay, and said I'll book a room, and you know, just meet me there. And like 2 weeks before, I'm like, okay, so we need to like figure out what happened. When are you getting in? When am I getting in? And I need to know, you know, do you want your name on the room? And he says, wait, that's real? And I'm like, that I'm going, or that it exists? And he goes, that it exists. And I'm like, do you think like 9,000 people got together to fuck with you?
His eyebrows are glorious.
Because, dude, I just want to be really clear. You think medium rare chicken is a thing. Nobody's that dedicated to fucking with you at this point.
I take offense to that, sir. Chicken.
Yeah, no, trust me. He's like, oh, I asked him once how a date went, and he's like, oh, it was great. You know, I fixed her a chicken dinner. I'm like, oh, how'd she like it? Oh, you know, she didn't eat a lot of it, but that's just because she doesn't like her chicken medium rare. And I'm like, that's not a thing. You tried to give your date salmonella. There's easier ways to get them to clean out. I'm just. We are at Anthrocon, and the programming staff was excited that I was there, and they yanked me into the old programming room. On the first night, it was a Friday night. I had been in court all day. We met up. We went over there. They yanked me into the programming room. Actually, it's the first time I met Pepper too, who's gone now. But they were doing their After Dark concert. The programming yanked me by and said, "Oh, this is Boozy," and Pepper's like, "Yeah, fuck off, we're busy." And Fox and Moore's like, "Hey, fuck off." But go fuck yourself. So they take me back to the programming office, and there was just a table. filled with booze. To this day, it is one of my favorite pictures. Somebody had taken a picture of me from behind, sitting at that table. If you ever get a chance to sit and drink with me, after a few drinks, get very animated, and I'll start telling stories. And it's a shot of me in the background. I'm telling some story, God knows what. Still wearing my suit from court, and a bunch of furries laughing on the other side of the table. Off camera was Captain Eyebrows in his suit and tie, because looking very nervous, because a few moments before that picture was taken,
This is not where I was going with this, by the way.
The door flew open, and what I could best describe as a giant booze-generating fairy in a top hat came rampaging into the room and produced no less than 9 flasks from hidden pockets in his jacket. Said hello to me, turned around, looked at my colleague, and went, "Well, hello." And then sat down and proceeded to hit on him. Now, I want to explain. Captain Eyebrows, who, by the way, very successful attorney, we talk regularly. We haven't seen each other in years, but that's because his practice has gotten so busy. He's been very successful.
Hell yeah.
We actually were talking not too long ago, and he's like, "I want to go back to another furry con." And I'm like, "Do you believe they're real now?" But
Did he ask about me?
yeah, actually he did. So he's sitting there, he's looking nervous. Alkali is not being aggressive, but he is very obviously flirting. And I walk outside to have a cigarette, right? At which point, somebody tells Alkali that was Boozy, who walked outside. He isn't bad. He tells me later, he tells me, like the next day we're talking about something, he goes, "I am so sorry. I'm sorry, I wouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry. That's not how I wanted to make a first impression." I'm like, "I think it was hilarious." Listen, man, if I was offended, I would have stayed and helped my friend. But no, that was fucking hilarious. That's why I left. Like, it's less funny if I'm there. That was 8 or 9 years ago. And this is one of the wonderful things about furry, and it is actually the note I will end my part on tonight, at least. Because we've had a lot of fun, and I love doing this, but one of the best things is, when I fell ass backwards into the fandom, I was miserable. I was an attorney. I did not have very many friends who were not attorneys. I mean, I'm still an attorney, but at least until the Bar Association sees this recording. No, I was an attorney who had essentially no friends who weren't attorneys anymore. All the guys that I'd grown up with, all the people I hung out with when I was younger, well, we were all over the country now. We didn't talk as much. And here's the dirty secret, especially for all of you younger ones out there. There comes an age where it's really hard to make new friends. Like, it's just difficult. Like when you're young, it's easy. You both like Nintendo. Let's be best friends forever. How old are you? Nintendo's still around. How old am I? Yeah. As you get older, it gets harder to do those things. I did not have, outside of work in my life, my family, I did not have much of a life when I fell ass backwards. The comedy stuff. I hadn't done a comedy routine in over a decade. I used to do them all the time. That used to be a way I made money. I hadn't done one in over a decade. I fell ass backwards into the fandom. One of you dipshits gave me a microphone. And I've been doing this since. And it's wonderful. It's great. But you know what the best thing is?
Sovereign citizens.
Yes. But one of the best things is I have friends. I have good friends. This gentleman, we joked about it, this gentleman right here, when he found out I was having a surgery and my family needed help, flew out to be with us. Before that, when we needed to get our house ready, he flew out to help us get our house ready. I had friends who flew out just to make sure I was okay. just to stop in and say hi and make sure I was okay after the surgery because they knew I needed it. We have friends that we can go out to movies with, that we can have dinner with, that we can talk to, that we don't see for weeks, but we talk to every day. And that's what this community has done for me, and it's what it's done for my family, in addition to making me a loud, cranky badger.
Boozy, that was so sweet. I feel like I need a van and a joint.
So I guess what I'm really trying to say here is take the people that you've met here, that you're close to here, and keep them close to you, because honestly, friendship is magic. Ladies and gentlemen, both and neither, this has been iComedy Better When I Had a Few. I am Boozy Badger, but let's hear it up for Alkali Business.
And I will never be able to tell you why I had that reaction. I hate you. In a few minutes, we're going to be having the charity D&D in here. Stick around. Watch one of my favorite DM, Phelan, torture me. We will see you guys. Yes, hold on. Somebody's yelling. What?
I'm going.
Because the next panel's 21 plus, and I have to check all their IDs myself.
My apologies, guys. I know it sucks. Get those IDs